Hey everybody, this is John from /bash, and today I am bringing you another malicious compliance Reddit video. If you are new to the channel, then subscribe, and ring that notifications bell so you don't miss out on the fun. In our first story, when they tell you that you aren't qualified for a promotion, then it is time to stop doing the job. Let's jump right in. A few years ago, I worked for a furniture store in the back of the store. My job consisted of unloading and loading trucks, assembling furniture, and placing it on the main floor of the store. After around 6 months there, my supervisor announced he resigned, meaning his post was up for grabs. I had all the technical requirements, so I applied, but they gave the job to another one of my colleagues who had more experience, which was totally reasonable. After maybe 1 year, my then supervisor just stopped coming into work for no reason. He just decided he had had enough and he just left, no 2 weeks notice or anything. So while the director tried to get to him, I took over the role of supervisor. I was the one with the most experience. Which means that combined with my regular work, I was now the one telling people what to do, when, doing the schedule, and all the paperwork for the shipment. 3 weeks later, my colleague was officially fired by my director. In those 3 weeks, I kept doing the job of supervisor and doing it pretty well, so I thought that the promotion would come to me, but my director did nothing. I went to see him, explained what I had been doing, and asked if I got the promotion too, which he answered that I was not qualified nor smart enough to do this job. After some thinking, I just decided that if I was not smart enough to do the job, then I shouldn't do it. So I went back to doing my regular job, and I also started looking for something else. 4 to 5 days after I stopped filling in, my director came to see me in the back of store asking why the flip the job isn't being done. After all, without me to organize it, nothing was getting out of the store to be delivered to the client. I just reminded him of our previous meeting and he told me, "Yeah, I remembered that. What I meant is you're not qualified to get the pay bonus for the job. You still have to do the job, you idiot." I have to admit I still wonder how he thought that would work. Still a bit dumbfounded, I just told him that if I wasn't going to get paid for it, I certainly won't do the job, and that considering we were already short staff, with my old supervisor gone, he should be a bit more polite. Apparently, this was an unreasonable request, a total lack of respect to him, and worthy of firing me. Yep, I still don't get how that would fix anything, but hey, he's the boss. I packed everything and left knowing that the back of store, which needed 5 people to operate, was now down to 3, with the most experienced worker having a total of 4 months. It only took my boss 1 day to call me back to say maybe he went overboard and that perhaps we could arrange something for the promotion. To which I replied that I already had a few interviews lined up and so I would not be coming back. I hung up while he was still cussing at me. After a few months at my new job, I heard some surprising news. 2 other back-of-store employees resigned and soon after, the store had closed down. Gotta admit that it felt good to see my old boss finally get what he deserved. Story 2. My boss says I am not the office manager. Fine. Then who needs electricity? When I was doing my articles at a small law firm, internship to be admitted as an attorney, I was the go-to person for everything at the office, setting up computers, buying stationery, paying bills, going to court, seeing clients, etc. After being admitted as an attorney, I continued doing all this because the secretary only did about 20% of what a secretary would usually do and refused to do anything else. My boss does some shady business, don't pay taxes, etc., so he couldn't just fire her for fear of her ratting him out. He also never disciplined her. We are not in the US. Since we worked from my boss's mother's house, the secretary also spent about 50% of her day just chatting to his mother, and they became fast friends. Guess who was always the evil one that everyone ganged up on? Yours truly. I was made out to be incompetent at my job, and I used to cry a lot and almost became an alcoholic from work stress. One day the secretary got really upset with me after I asked her to buy stationery since we didn't even have staples, and after a heated argument told me that I'm not the office manager and should stop lording it about as if I was. Bear in mind, I was her senior both as an attorney and in number of years working at the firm. My boss did nothing and rather got upset with me, and so did his mother. I decided then and there that I am done doing both secretary work and my attorney work because I was working roughly 50 to 60 hours per week, the standard is 40, trying to get everything done without receiving extra pay. The unemployment rate in my country is around 30%, and in the legal field supply of lawyers exceeds demand. She knew this and my boss knew this, but no one cared that I was basically working myself into an early grave. Cue malicious compliance. If everyone agrees that I am not the office manager, then I will stop managing the flow of the office and only do my attorney work. I stopped paying the bills, buying the stationery, reminding my boss of important meetings, etc. Within 2 weeks, the electricity was cut off for 10 days because it wasn't paid, and my boss's elderly mother and the rest of his family had no electricity. We could also not work for those 10 days. Once the electricity went on, the phone lines were cut because of non-payment. We could, again, not work. The post piled up, there was no stationery. We couldn't do service of court documents because our service providers cut us off. It went on for weeks. I simply worked around the issues and sorted my life out. One example, when the Wi-Fi was off, I used my cell phone to hotspot my laptop without telling anyone. In the end, my boss and his mother begged me to do what I used to do, but I refused. Since I was focusing more on my actual work, my fees increased and my pay increased as well. Shortly thereafter, I moved away from that office to our secondary office and worked alongside lovely colleagues who all did what they got paid to do. I have been at this new office, same firm, just a different location, for the last 2 years. In story number 3, the party is over, but we still want pizza. This took place in the very late 80s or early 90s pre-internet. We had a very large multi-line BBS system and with some text games and robust chat rooms where a lot of people hung out and used it as the central hub of their social lives. A lot of us met and hung out in person on weekends, and there were also lots of parties. And that's already more backstory than you need, but apparently forum rules say I have to include some sort of setup. One Saturday, we have a pool party that was pretty large. We decided to order pizza from a local 24-hour place that was famous for having great brick oven square pizza. We ordered something like 10 to 12 large pizzas very early on. We even confirmed they were okay handling an order that big. Hours go by, several phone calls asking where the pizzas are, excuses about how they had messed them all up, really, all of them? And had to start over, but eventually, more than 8 hours after we ordered, they show up. Most of the people had left by then, and there were now way too many pizzas. We ask if we can just take half of them. The delivery guy says he has to call his boss. He comes in and uses the phone. I hear him telling his boss how after all those hours people have left and that we only wanted half of the order. Boss says, no, tell him it's all or none. Fine then, none it is. Sorry dude, bye. There we are starving. Some ideas are thrown out about what was open on that side of town, where we could go, etc. I had my heart set on that pizza place, so I suggested we go there. There was some confusion at the suggestion. Haha, yeah, that would be hilarious if we all just rolled up and, wait, you're serious? I was serious, but nobody was calling me Shirley. We went. As we are piling into the restaurant, the delivery guy spots us and whispers to his boss while pointing at us. The boss gave us the evil eye the entire time we were in there, but that was okay. The pizzas were great. This is John from /bash. Please hit that like button to help with the almighty YouTube algorithm and subscribe if you're new. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again in the next one.